right. So, John, I know you've had a lot of experience, and we've worked here at Culver, an independent school, boarding school. But I've worked some with public schools, and I know you have too. Had some experience teaching these schools, and they apply in different settings. What about that?
Well, what we wanted to do several years back is to take that SMARTStrengths model that we developed and started using at Culver to public schools. And one school system, the Triton School Corporation in Bourbon, Indiana, was a perfect place where I had a connection with the superintendent there, and the superintendent actually brought me in to do some of the appreciative inquiry with his school board, which was really exciting. And working through the process, very good administrative team, very good kind of connections between the school board and the school's administrative team. And they kind of worked through a process in there doing kind of appreciative inquiry of looking at some of the goals that they had there. And from that led to working with their elementary school, but also their senior high school, and by beginning to train a core group of their teachers, as we feel that that's the best part of one of the steps of the 7 steps in making this work in schools. And from that standpoint, we're able to get a lot of traction at the elementary school, especially with the elementary school principal there, who's done an awful lot of work with his teachers and the 5th and 6th grade students there with the VIA youth, and doing a variety of different activities there. And from that,
so you started with the superintendent and the school board, worked with teachers, all the way down to students, looking at their strengths and how they can improve.
Exactly, and I think through the work that we did with the elementary school, as those kids left the elementary school and went up to the senior high school, that could carry on. And so at that point, it had enough traction to begin to work with the teachers the core group of teachers at the senior high school to do strengths-based work at that point.
And I want to kind of play off of that for just a minute and talk about it. One of the most exciting things I think about for me personally doing this, and as you know, I've helped teach some of these skills around the world in some places, is how teachers react, how participants in the PLAN program at Vanderbilt, when I've worked with that, the ones when we've worked here, it's such a refreshing thing for them when we come in and they realize nobody's telling them how to teach in their classroom. Nobody's saying, here, go out and do this. We're saying, here, we want you to learn stuff that's going to be beneficial to you. This is fundamental human capacities to succeed. This is what we know from research. And the first thing is learn it for yourself. Use it for yourself. And it's such an empowering thing for them to have that experience that then you're not having to talk them into going out and using it in a classroom. They're actively saying, hey, this works, this benefits me. How can I take it to students? And you've got that initiative coming right from the teacher level.
That's one of the things that we've seen where we've talked to some teachers who are saying that I now think about how I teach differently now. Yep. This person had been in teaching in one of the public school for 18 years and saying that they have a different way. And another said, I have permission now to use my strengths. Okay, I don't have to live in a deficit model, not with my students, but I don't have to live in that myself. And so, even there'll be, as Terrence Deal once said in Shaping School Culture, there'll be keepers of the nightmare still. Teachers who just think it will never be like it used to be and will always be pessimistic about different things.
But you can tip so many people.
Yeah, and we've been able to tip some of those keepers of the nightmare at times. But the thing is that to have that opportunity, be given permission to do this, is just a different frame change. And we believe that when you get a set of teachers to develop this idea of a collective efficacy together, that gives more of a clear and consistent message to their students. Yeah. And so there's less distraction in the classroom. The school's a healthier place to be. You're making better connections with the parents and the administrators, and it kind of works all across from that. And it also is some of the work that we've done with Crystal House Academy down in Indianapolis. As I said, with Triton has a certain amount of the population that's underserved at the poverty line, and working with that population. And with some of the students at Crystal House, Indianapolis, where a lot of those school students are from the inner city there, we're working with underserved populations.
But you're still thinking about strengths. You're still talking about optimistic thinking styles. It's the same set of skills.
Yeah. In fact, Jeremy Riffle, the principal at Triton, had actually took under his wing and mentored a sixth grader several years ago. We'll use his name Daniel to protect the innocent here.
Gotcha.
And anyways, he saw Daniel, and Daniel was pretty a high maintenance student, to use the term loosely. And anyways, he had Daniel in his office, and he talked to Daniel a little bit about his strengths. And then he said to Daniel, "What do you like to do, Daniel?" And he said, "Well, a couple of things I like to do. I really like to cook, and I'd love to be a chef." And he goes, "Well, what else?" And well, I love to play the guitar. I want to be in a band someday. And so Jeremy said, "Well, tell me a little bit more about cooking." Well, it's hard because we don't have a lot of food on the table at home. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Well, what about the guitar?" And he goes, well, I have a guitar, but all the strings are broken on it right now." And he goes, well, we could take care of those strings. And so he saw this light, this beacon, that was coming out of Daniel's eyes. And he said, and he looked at his different strengths there, and he said, here's I'd like to make a deal with you. I can get you strings for your guitar. And I know a student who's a senior over at the junior-senior high school could actually give you guitar lessons. Would you like that? And he goes, and then we'd see if we could have you, take that instead of your music class here at the elementary school. Would you like to do that? He goes, "Sure, yeah, I'd love to do it." So he started going over there, and he went to his music teacher, and he says to his music teacher, "I don't have to take your class anymore. I'm going over to the high school, junior, senior high school, do it and get lessons." And this teacher was perfect. Where some teachers might say, "No, I don't know about that. You still need to do that." No, what this teacher said was, "Daniel, that's wonderful. And when you finish those lessons, I want you to come back and play for the class. Would you do that?" And he said, "Yeah."
So what happened? How did he go through that year?
Oh, it was great. He came back and played and did the lessons there, and it was a shift. It was a shift. It was trying to find out the best from an appreciative approach that the Jerry Murphy, the principal, did with him, and the same thing trying to do this with down at Crystal House Academy. And it's really interesting too is that up at Culver, we have a pretty strong relationship with all the Crystal House schools, and there's several schools also that are in different parts of the country. Mm-hmm. And we have every 2 years we have a group of our Culver CGA girls that will go to Crystal House, South Africa. And in Crystal, South Africa, working with some of the underserved population at CSA Crystal House there. And it's just amazing of doing strengths work with the kids there and having them work. At this school, they don't have the computer, but to actually do the VIA, but they actually have the list of the 24 VIA strengths, and they work with the kids and do a variety of exercises and activities with them too. So no matter what the population, it doesn't matter whether a school has many resources or doesn't. As you said before, it's fulfilling a human capacity, Dave. That's what we do. Yeah.
And so the strengths material, particularly, just like the story from Africa points out, those were selected. Part of the reason why they made that is because these are human strengths that have been valued in cultures around the world for 3,000 years. Right. So you can go anywhere and you're still talking about a core set of human strengths from youth all the way through adults.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good.